taking that trade. But now I could look at that same setup, break that bitch down, go into a lower time frame, wait for a market structure shift using 2020 model, wait for it to come back down to a fair value gap, trade that, put a stop loss below the fair value gap, and I'll use probably less than half of 1 cent move as a stop loss. See the difference there? Wisdom. Understanding. But none of the fucking books ever taught this. But it created and presented problems for me that I struggled with because I'm obsessively compulsive. So anytime an author admitted a weakness, they were treasures for me. Because well, not so much treasures, but they were treasure hunts. Because if you're telling me you can't do something, tell me you can't do something. I have respect for the fact that you're being honest about that. But I also used it as a pursuit to overcome you. You're my teacher because I bought your fucking book, I bought your course. But I'm going to lap you. I'm going to take whatever you have that works and I'm going to turn it up tenfold. And I'm going to make it superhuman. Because if it works, I know how to multiply that. And I'm not talking about over leveraging multiple contract sizes or lots if we're talking about Forex. I'm talking about conceptually refining it down to a science. When I was going through school, my whole idea was to become a computer science major and be an information systems manager, where I wanted to be a systems analyst. I wanted the programmers to work for me. I would tell them what I wanted them to do. Code it this way. I want this as the outcome. We learned COBOL. Okay. It's not as active anymore. We had CICS. When I was learning computer programming, we were using mainframe. Okay. The big reel-to-reel shit. Yeah. And C+ was just becoming a thing. So today we have all kinds of languages that I couldn't even sit down and even begin to know. Like I just don't know. And I haven't done it for so long. And anything for coding, like when I have like easy language stuff for like TradeStation, I have a friend, Logan, he does all that coding for me. He's done it for years for me. And I tell him, this is what I want this to do. This is what I want this to do. I want this to do this. I don't want it to do this when this does this. And there it was. Long-term friend that I've met, and he does all that work for me. But when I sat down and looked at the things that other people say they have a struggling point with, for instance, take Jack Swagger's books, Market Wizards. In my opinion, Market Wizards 1 and 2, they're the only ones that matter. The other shit, whatever. And if you're listening and you're one of the people in that book, it's not to be disrespectful, but I just didn't enjoy any other volume in that series. The first and second one's great. What I liked most about those interviews is they talked about their barriers. They talked about what mattered to them. What was the things that were on their mind at the time when they were doing their trades or learning how to trade, how they came up. They didn't talk about what Jack was trying to do most of the time. I'm sure he probably cut most of the shit that they talked about in their interviews out. Otherwise, the books could be very, very long, right? But the things of importance to me would have been hearing how they dealt with certain struggles and what they did with it. Did they just cast it aside and say, fuck it, I'm going to fail with that every time I touch it? Or did they take in consideration that they could bring something to the table and elevate that struggling point to a strength for themselves and other people? Remember, I'm that guy at 11 years old was told by their grandmother, you're lazy, honey. You're lazy. I'm not fucking lazy. Give me a thing to focus my attention on, and I'm going to find dozens of ways to do it exceedingly well. Because I want it to be easy for me. I want it to be second nature for me. And I'm trying to instill that on my young children. And it took time for me as a 20-year-old to figure this out. And my older kids, first, they still wrestle. They're still wrestling with me. And I'm telling them, trade this way. Don't try to do these other things. Caleb looks at other things in the charts that don't matter right now because he has attention issues. Okay, he looks at other things, and I'm trying to keep his attention right here. This right here. Okay. And I'm trying to include that also when I'm doing my markups and my analysis. When I'm looking at the chart, I'm trying to highlight the actual portion of the fractal I'm only focused in. And I know some of you look at the chart and you think just because I have all those candles on the left-hand side of the chart showing that they're pertinent to what it is I'm trading. They're not. There is a segment of price action I'm working within, and it's the dealing range. I'm either looking for that range to be broken to the upside and targeting external range liquidity, or I'm looking for it to trade into a range above or below the existing range that's created. So that's all trading is. That's all it is, folks. And you're trying to make things much more complicated, and you accuse me of complicating things. I'm not. But the problem is many of you want to go through a 5-minute video and me explain everything in 5 minutes, and you can't do that. No one can. No one can. There's so many things I've already covered in this discussion here that you probably never considered. Like, shit, I never really thought about that. Right. And others in here probably listening to saying, this is bullshit. I wasted my time, and you're never going to make any money. I'm promising you're not going to make any money because you're coming in with this same expectation that I had when I was 20. I want it easy. I want it spelled out exactly like this. I want an ABC 1, 2, 3 method that I know will work all the time. That's what I wanted as a 20-year-old. That's exactly what I wanted. Because the books that I was buying made it seem like that was possible. And when I was blowing my accounts, hey, guess what? Something's wrong with this logic here. I got to figure out what the hell the real story is. And most of it was coming internally, manifesting itself in my trading. Feeling a strong desire to prove myself because I was scarred by a family member who I loved. So I manifested that tendency to overcompensate, proving to myself that I'm perfect. And I have to be in at the highest high when I'm seeing a bearish divergence on stochastics and I'm bearish on the market. I have to be in there. I have to be in there. If I don't do that, my grandmother is going to say I'm lazy. That's how it scars you. That type of shit scars you deep when you're, well, wired like I am, which is not normal. And I'm not claiming to be normal. That's why I'm a very difficult mentor to learn from, because I have real mental baggage that I can't overcome. I can't. And therapists and all kinds of other bullshit, it ain't going to fix me. So I turned it into a strength. I sat down in an evening on the weekend, literally crying tears over these fucking charts that I could not figure out. I'm looking at these charts thinking to myself, I know I'm going to be able to do this. I know I can figure this out. But why the fuck can't I get this to be consistent? Why can't I find, this pattern to trade the bond market over and over and over again? I know it can be done. I see the moves after it happens. Why the fuck can't I see it before it happens? Because I was looking at 30 different ways that other people said in books. And when I was buying their VHS bullshit, okay, I was trying to catch up with whatever I thought was happening right then and there. I was trying to form fit something after it starts moving. So my weakness was what? I needed to have confirmation, because I was afraid to step out there and do something and be wrong, because the consequence of being wrong was detrimental to me, because I beat myself up mentally and emotionally, because I would refer back to what memory? My grandmother saying, honey, you're lazy. And all she was talking about was me being unable at 11 years old to shovel a half a ton of fucking rock and line it around a swimming pool on a day that was almost 100 degrees. And I had already been delivering picnic tables, living with my grandmother, my other grandmother, my mom's side. And I delivered picnic tables with him all morning, picking them up. I'm 11 years old, frail little boy. Okay. I wasn't a man. I was a little kid. And I'm tired. And treated lumber, 8-foot long picnic tables, is fucking heavy as shit. You gotta walk over, flip it up on the back of the pickup truck, ride on the back of the pickup truck. Unsafe, I know, but it was fun as fuck. Get to the place, and then they want you to walk it around their backyard delivering for $5. And I got that money. The $5 delivery charge he charged, I got that. That was my compensation for helping him. But I had done 7 picnic tables that day. And it's hot as shit. And she's like, you want to come and spend the night? Sure, Grandma, I'm on my way up there. And she was, wait there, I'll pick you up. She picks me up, get up there, a glass of iced tea, a couple cookies. Okay, well, here's what I want you to do. And I was like, are you kidding me? Like, I can't get this done today. And I was hot. I went back in to get something to drink an hour and a half later, or something to that effect. And she's like, that's all you got done? Oh, honey, you're lazy. That was it. I never went up there again. And I was angry. That's the last time I spoke to her, like a grandma type thing. But it scarred me deep, deep.